Well, the question is, are there people that have been so damaged psychologically that they're relegated to a second-class experience of life? That's the question you're asking. And there's a lot of evidence that points to that, in that, you know, people with really bad childhoods have trouble growing up, and people who have had post-traumatic stress experiences, you know, their whole life changes, and people get a painful divorce, and they have trouble, you know, relating to the opposite sex. But that's an appearance. That's not actually cause-effect. You see, even though that is common, it's not a cause-effect. There isn't damage that affects a person necessarily on a go-forward basis. This is where the body and the psyche are a little different. You know, you can get a broken arm, and it never is the way it was. It never gets back the way it was. Or you can get, you know, cancer, some other illness, and your body, I mean, is going to be subpar for a period of time or for the rest of your life. Not so with the psyche. There's no damage that can be done to people's capacity for happiness. Now, the damage that's done temporarily is their thinking. Like when they, for example, when they think about those painful memories, they will suffer emotional distress. So in a way, there's damage there. The damage is related to their thinking in the moment. If a person understands that that's all that's happening, the damage is completely neutralized. It's no different from you and I waking up from a nightmare. When we wake up from a nightmare and we say, "Whoa, I'm so glad to be up. That was a horrible nightmare." That nightmare has zero influence on our life. It no longer affects us once we understand that it's a nightmare. And people who catch on to these principles and the role of thought in life realize that all their past experiences that have been haunting them, all their post-traumatic stress experiences, all the unpleasant childhood conditioning that happened, is a nightmare that they can awaken from by simply understanding it for what it is. And all it is memories carried through time that only affect the person in the moment that they think about that particular memory. Every other moment, those memories have no influence on the person's life. So as a person gains this understanding and changes their relationship to their memories, the memories lose their power, and they are perceived as nightmares. And the person perceives that they've woken up from that nightmare by realizing that they're just thoughts carried through time. And there's no exception to this, because any pain you're having right now is coming from your thinking. And no matter how horrible the experience was back in the day, it's right now, it's just a thought. And right now it only affects you when you think that memory, and it no longer affects you if you understand that the memory isn't real. It's just thought. So if you don't believe in it, believe in the reality of it, it has no power whatsoever. It's no different than the nightmares that we have. nightmares, while we're having them, I mean, they're real, and they frighten, we go through fear and all this. But as soon as we wake up, they're gone. And as soon as we wake up to the fact that painful thoughts, memories are just thoughts carried through time, they have no more power. Well, some people have the idea, from listening to us, mistaken idea that once you catch on to these principles, you kind of live happily ever after. And that's the end of life's adversity. And nothing could be farther from the truth. Life is a full contact sport, you might say, and nobody comes out of it without having adversity, without going up and down in their spirits like a roller coaster. That said, the more understanding you have, the more graceful that journey. That's really what the principles do. It's a function of grace. It's a function of how you get less bent, spittled, and mutilated by your experiences if you understand these principles. So I might be really down in the dumps tomorrow morning when I wake up. Not even know why, because thoughts come so fast and furious you can't even figure what it is that's bumming you out. So I could be really down in the dumps tomorrow. And does that mean that I don't understand these principles? No. But to the extent that I understand them, being in the dumps will be less scary and less of a problem and less wear and tear on me. And if I didn't understand these principles, before I understood these principles, I used to, when I would get upset or troubled or off balance, I would just spin my wheels and I would essentially wind myself down into the ground. And it would last for a while. And when I came out of it, my faith in life was a little less than it was before. Okay? Now, I don't, doesn't affect me as deeply or for as long. But it still affects me. And I wish it didn't affect me as much as it does. But I will say that my bracket of my roller coaster of life is raised. So my lows now are a lot easier to take than the lows I used to have back in the day. So there's a certain grace and ease that people have with the principles, even as they still have stress and distress in their life on a regular basis. There isn't a day that goes by I don't get, bummed out by some thought that I have, or upset by my thoughts. But it's one thing being upset, and it's another thing being really adversely affected by being upset. And that's what's changed for me.